Welcome back to Solomon's Crown. Today we will be reviewing a Andrew Tate video. I guess it's just going to be arguing with liberals. So, you know how that goes. This is a blind review, so we don't know what's about to happen, but I'm sure with Andrew Tate, like it'll be something.
I already know it's going to be juicy because he has his shirt off and this guy's
Yo, why does this man got his shirt off? And why is there a mannequin? No, that's that. Is that a mannequin, bro? He's got half a mannequin. All right.
Yeah.
All right, let's see.
They look at you and go, he is a victim, because that's what you look like, my friend, and it's your own choice.
See, that's just it, though. The only reason they would choose you in that element is because of the patriarchal, male-dominated society that we
fucking go. Here we go.
All right. Here's the deal, Andrew.
This is fun. No. I'm not done.
No, hey, Andrew, listen to me.
From history that wasn't patriarchal. Name a society from history that was not patriarchal.
See, listen to me, though. That is why people like yourself are bugging and going into hyper mode right now, because society's changing. Society's changing.
I'll tell you why, my friend. I'll tell you why we cannot name a single society in history across the entire planet that was not patriarchal. Because patriarchal societies are optimized to survive. When things get difficult, when people are put in survival situations, we naturally revert to our gender roles. I'll tell you something. If we were all on a ship and the ship got shipwrecked, the men would start building and digging and hunting, and the women would start gathering and doing what women are naturally adept at. Because when it comes down to survival, you have to do what you are most competent at. And men are more competent at certain things, and females are more competent at certain things. I'm
not all men. Not all men, and not all females.
My point is, patriarchal societies are more competitive than any other type of society because society functions better as a patriarchy. So the reason you cannot name a single society in history that was not a patriarchy is because all of the societies, and I'm sure there were some, which were not patriarchal, were destroyed by patriarchal societies. They were wiped off the face of the planet because they are not competitive.
I mean, so how do you feel about that, though?
So first of all, I think he already has a weak premise, because a lot of the times I find that a lot of people from his mindset, they always say we could talk in generalities where yes, in survival situations, more often than not, men would usually try to build shelter, try to hunt for food. In a theoretical situation, a woman would probably like gather and do stuff like that, because men and women are different, especially when it comes down to survival situations where we instinctively revert to certain roles. And of course, not all men will be that quick to go follow that instinct, and not all women will be quick to follow that instinct. But the exception doesn't make the rule. So why would you bring that up? So if 10% of men are feminine or whatever, or 10% of women are masculine, does that make the other 90? Does that anomaly negate the other 90s natural inclinations? So based off of that, I don't see the logic in what he's coming from.
I mean, the logic is by the vast majority. Like the majority are going to revert back to these certain roles, but that's the thing is like you said, I mean, the world is changing, but that's not going to change like human nature in the long run.
It's not.
So that
there has to be like almost, I would say, a molecular change, fundamental change in our brain chemistry to even begin to explore that quote unquote society is changing.
I mean, and the thing is like, if we're being serious, like a lot of these societies already had a lot of these problems, so you never knew. I mean, researchers and developers are going to know, like, okay, like this is why this society failed, or I mean, think about like the Mongolians, bro. Like they were just conquerors. Like that's what worked for them. But like as far as like technological advances and then like advanced strategies and longevity, like it didn't work. But we'd have to dig into like why it didn't work in the long run. So I mean, there's always going to be some type of flaw no matter what. But
you mean why the Mongolians didn't last longer?
Yeah.
Because they integrated with the Han Chinese. well, that's one of the reasons why they succeeded and they failed, because Genghis Khan, instead of completely taking over the culture and saying, "Hey, this is Mongolia," he decided to integrate, to kind of like keep the Chinese, the Han Chinese people in the places that they were, but kind of like have the Mongolians as overseers. So they kind of kept the cultures and everything together, and it kind of diluted. And after time went on, it kind of diluted the Mongolians, because Han Chinese, or Chinese people as we know it, are really like homogenous. They're really like cultural.
But that's the thing is like, okay, like the Mongolians understood that they could not survive if they continued to try to just like forcefully conquer. And that's what it comes down to, is like, yes, what he's saying works to a certain extent, but at a certain extent, at a certain point in time, you're going to have to change to adapt. And the adaptation isn't going to be the hyper aggressive, like returning to roles and everything like that. It's going to be, I mean, we don't know. With society today,
do we not know?
I mean, in today's society, things are definitely different. I mean, we could
What
get
society?
a liberal president
In a global society?
Western society.
But so was Western society the dominant society? Will it forever be the dominant society? Is it sustainable? Like, you got to ask these questions.
I mean, people are still appropriating our culture. Like, I mean, think about Japan. Like, there's a lot of things that, I mean, they probably still listen to B2K, like, and NSYNC and stuff like that. So, I mean, it depends on how long it takes them to catch up to modern day times, because there's a lot of things in Japan that are just like blast from the past. Like I said, like living in Japan was like low key almost living in like old America. Like, yeah, like
in a lot of ways, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. So like it gave off those like childhood vibes of like how peaceful and quiet and just natural life was out there. So I mean, maybe once they catch up to 2020 Western society and their whole society's falling apart because their kids don't want to work anymore, or people don't want to work 14, 15 hours a day and go to the bar and pass out anymore. Like, but we'll see. But we're getting off topic, so let's see what else he has to say.
They don't have any books to read. They do not have monuments to find. And the point I'm making is that in the harsh reality of ultra competitiveness, only patriarchal societies can survive. So the reason you cannot name one from history is because all the ones that tried this idea that you're trying to purport were destroyed in real time. And in the West, in America, as we stand right now in America, which I wouldn't even call it a patriarchal society because it isn't, because females have more rights under the law than men.
Oh my God, bro.
They do. And I'm telling you now,
are so clueless.
As America falls apart and the patriarchy is disintegrated, all that's going to happen is that other countries like Russia, like China, like countries which are still patriarchal, will remain more competitive than the West. And you're not going to fix the world. America's just going to end up a third world shithole. So throwing the fucking patriarchy away is going to fix a fucking thing. You live in a clown world, my clown world.
Yeah, no, I don't. I mean, I do live in a clown world, because there are people like you that are sitting there like pushing this inane philosophy. So yeah, I get it. I accept that. But first off, we haven't seen a non-patriarchal society yet. We're definitely moving toward it. And if you want to look at America and look at some of the problems with America, like what problems do we have? Well, there's an enormous wealth gap. You mentioned the Roman Empire earlier. The Roman Empire didn't fall because of laziness. It fell because of overconfidence, because of an income gap between the richest and the poor, and because of political corruption. All three things that are sort of happening in America right now. So absolutely, America could fall, but it's not because men were turning soft, right? The idea of men being soft, the idea of men being soft, Andrew, is a battle cry of men who see that purely physical stature is no longer the only defining quality. Because like you said, they could line me and you up, and all those brutes like the cops or somebody looking for pure strength would choose you to defend them. But anybody who was from a marginalized group that was looking for an emotional defender, those people would pick me, right? And they wouldn't pick the muscular guy because they know that I have the inner strength to actually have an openness and a vote.
What are you gonna say?
What is he talking about, bro?
Which one? Pink hair or Andrew Tate?
Hey, pink hair guy, like, what is he?
He's saying that if in a end world scenario, there's going to be two different types of leaders. Ones who are emotional, who are compassionate, who literally, I mean, he's pretty much proven Andrew Tate's point with that, because if he is that type of leader and he's not going to capitalize on building an army or building any type of strength, like, then Mongolians just gonna come through in Mongolian, like. So he kind of took a step back. But I mean, I get what he's saying. He's saying that the world is changing to the point where we might not need to be super hyper masculine, but that's you're telling America, like, oh yeah, let's just be docile, let's just be this. What do you think all the other countries are going to do? Do you think they're going to be like, oh, America's being docile, so we should do the same?
So my question is what is hyper masculine?
You work out.
Compared to what?
Compared to scoop, what? Your pre-workout, you got muscles, you run, you like do stereotypical men shit.
On a serious note, looking at the history of America or the history of many of first world countries nowadays, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it be America, Europe, the quote unquote colonial countries, right? What have they done from their existence till now to be number one, or to be as powerful as they are compared to a lot of lesser countries or developing countries? That's the question that people need to ask and actually think about. Because I'm pretty sure that countries like America, especially America, countries like England and Germany and Italy and Poland and China and Russia didn't come to power talking about vulnerabilities and openness and rainbows and sunshines. Pretty sure they didn't come to power based on that.
But with that being said, think on that and we'll be right back.